So continuing our discussion and analysis of Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 and the story it provides to the Dragon Ball lore, we move forward from the Saiyan Saga to the Frieza Saga, which had a few really fun twists and turns and a very surprising finale that I certainly was not expecting. Let's talk about it. Now, I know some people like to categorize the Namek Saga and the Frieza Saga separately as two different arcs. Some even divide it up even more, but for the purposes of this video, I want to keep it simple and just talk about the entire story of the journey to Namek, because to me, the Frieza arc begins right after Vegeta leaves the Earth, so we're going to talk about it from there. Now, the game itself picks up when Gohan, Krillin, and Dende are being chased by Dodoria in a murderous rage. But in this version, it wasn't quite so easy for them to escape because Zarbon shows up to help Dodoria out, of course, because of the Time Breakers being responsible for that, and you've got to come in there and save the day. Of course, there's no way that Krillin and Gohan could have beaten Zarbon at that point, so you help them escape. The fight between Vegeta and Dodoria is supposed to happen at this point, but it doesn't quite pan out that way due to interference from Time Breaker Lord Slug. But is he here on orders of Mira and Towa, or is he here for his own selfish intentions? Slug might be a Super Namek, a supposed legendary warrior who can even screw around with a Super Saiyan, but guess what? He ain't got nothing on Big Daddy Geekdom. So Time Patrol Trunks shows up and Lord Slug bounces out of there. Because Dodoria has been infected with Dark Makai energy, it's not so easy for Vegeta to beat him, but once you get involved in this fight, Vegeta does, of course, do what he needs to do and do what we all want him to do, and that's send Dodoria to another dimension. You won't be missed, buddy. The next major problem they run into is that they discover that Captain Ginyu switched bodies with Vegeta rather than changing bodies with Goku, which really flipped the entire series upside down and was another change that had to be corrected, and thus the Time Patrol has to go back there and get involved and correct the timeline. So after doing battle with the Ginyu Force, Goku shows up on Namek as was originally expected, but this time it's a little bit of a twist because rather than Captain Ginyu switching bodies with Goku, he actually changes bodies with Time Patrol Trunks because Trunks was not there in the original story, and thus things once again changed. So that provided another new challenge for the Time Patrol. And like with Slug earlier, they once again had to deal with Turles sticking his nose where it didn't belong and trying to affect the timeline again. But thankfully everything was rectified.
Finally, it's all back to normal. Damn it! This time! Perfect! Change now! I won't let you!
The Time Patrol then get together and have a meeting, and we find out that even though Mira was indeed defeated in the past, he has now been revived and is now stronger than ever before. We find out that Turles and Lord Slug are both after the Namekian Dragon Balls for selfish reasons outside of what Mira and Towa wanted. Lord Slug himself remarks that he could rule the entire universe with the power of those Dragon Balls. Naturally, of course, the Time Patrol steps in there and stops that from happening. The timeline course corrects, and we move forward to the climactic confrontation with Emperor Frieza himself in his final form. Meanwhile, Trunks leaves to go chase after Mira. Even though Frieza was also possessed by Towa's magic, the events of the Frieza Saga pretty much course correct very similarly here, to where you have to hold off Frieza until Goku shows up and the battle continues. And like in the anime, Frieza would go on to kill Goku's best friend, Goku would transform, and all hell breaks loose. And I also really enjoyed the fact that in the game, they used the Kai /original manga /original Japanese speech for Goku and remove the ally to good, nightmare to you. But that's because Bandai Namco tends to stick more towards the source material than the original Z-dub. But I will say that Sean Schemmel absolutely knocked it out of the park with his performance here, once again reciting the lines he's done so many times before. But then things get really interesting. Like in the original story, Frieza gets frustrated and blows up planet Namek and does the whole 5-minute countdown, and during his fight with Goku, upgrades his body to his 100% buff, really powerful but low stamina form. But then we have a huge surprise. That's right, the arrival of Frieza's older brother and the star of Dragon Ball Z movies 5 and 6, Cooler, appears to get involved in the fight. Obviously a product of Mira and Towa's magic, who dug Cooler out from another timeline and brought him into the regular timeline, and it becomes a tag team battle where you team up with Goku to battle Frieza and his brother. And what I loved about this scene was Frieza's reaction to seeing his brother. I thought this was absolutely priceless. So there's absolutely no way that Goku by himself on Namek could have been able to fight both Frieza and Cooler with the Dark Makai magic, but that's where you have to, of course, get involved and help Goku out with this scenario. And thus, Cooler goes down in a blaze of glory, and we're left with the way things should be: Goku versus Frieza on Namek.
What? That... I see. So King Kai used the Dragon Balls. Okay. I really don't know much about it, but you really helped me out. Let me be the one to finish this, though.
But no, that's not the end. Trunks successfully finds Mira, but once you arrive, Mira hightails it along with Timebreaker Bardock, living to fight another day. And that about does it for Xenoverse 2's version of the Frieza Saga, where they managed to consolidate both the Frieza Saga as well as the first Dragon Ball Z Cooler movie together into one story. The question is, would that be the last time that we see Cooler in this story? Well, Mira and Towa are very powerful, and they're recruiting allies from several different timelines and several different parts of the Dragon Ball Z, both anime, manga, and movie timeline, so we'll find out. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and bring this video to a close. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.